So, my name is Isla, for those of you that don't know me. I will be presenting the COVID-19 vaccine perceptions at Cazenovia College and across the United States. What fascinated me about this was obviously we can all say that COVID-19 has affected us in many ways. Um, and I just wanted to gain perceptions here at the Caz College, just the conversations that I've had with students and staff and professors.
All right, for my methods. So to set up my survey, I use Qualtrics, which is like a survey software. I administered it through email. I opened the survey November 9th and I closed it the 12th due to I got a really high response, so I didn't have to continue collecting data. I made the survey open to faculty, students, staff, and administration just to be able to get as much data as I can. I made sure to keep it optional and anonymous. And what I compared the data to was a national database, Morning Consult. So what they do is they put out surveys every week to the United States, about 40,000 surveys, and I compared what I got to that. All right, for my data analysis. So I got a total of 183 respondents, 109 students, 31 professors, 29 staff, and 14 administration. And the majority of my response was from students, which makes sense because there's obviously more students here than there is anyone else. I compared this to the national database, which you'll see next. But for females, we have 129 vaccinated females, 3 that are unwilling, and 2 that are not certain if they will. For the males, I have 41 that are vaccinated and 1 that are unwilling and 0 that are not certain if they will. And this is what the national database showed. So as you can see, there's more vaccinated males than there is females. I don't know if it's hard to see, but the dark green is for vaccinated, the light green is for plans to get vaccinated, yellow is uncertain, and red is unwilling. All right, now I compared the ages of the survey takers. So I had 94 people that are in between the ages of 18 to 23, 35 from 45 to 65. And I just used these 2 categories because that's what the highest number of respondents were in those categories. And the unvaccinated are 18 to 23. This one is the vaccinated, by the way. So what I got from this was that majority of the college is vaccinated. There's 0 unvaccinated that are 65 and older. The same thing here is the national database. They use the same colors. And in their study, what I was able to see was that 65 and older are most vaccinated, and in mine, so everyone is that 65 and older is vaccinated in both my study and here. So, and the ages between 18 to 34 are the ones that are the most unwilling to get vaccinated. All right, the vaccine status as a college as a whole. So we have 174 that are vaccinated, 4 that are unwilling, 2 that are uncertain if they will, and 0 that are planning to get vaccinated. And over here, this is the United States data that they've collected. So as you can see, the dark green line is for vaccinated. The light green is plans to get vaccinated. The yellow is unwilling or uncertain, and red is unwilling. And what I got was 60% of the United States is vaccinated. So at both of these, what you can get is that there's successful vaccine rates in both. Now I wanted to see what the top concern was for the people that are unvaccinated. So from my data, this is Caz College's data, I was able to get that they were concerned about side effects and they were worried that vaccines move through trials too fast. And this is morning consults. And basically the same thing here. Majority of the world is concerned about side effects, and they're worried that the vaccines have moved through trials too fast. Now this is something I wanted to compare between the college. So I did between professors and between students. So I was able to get 23 Republican professors, 2 Democrat, and 7 that are in the other category. And then between students, there is 51 that are Republican, 25 that are Democrat, and 32 that are in the other. And now I wanted to see what the hesitancy of showing your vaccine card would be. So what I got from this is that the highest hesitancy is in restaurants and in public transportation, and more people were willing to show their vaccine card if they were like airline traveling to a different country or state, rather than showing it at a restaurant to go eat. And now, since this is like in conversation, the booster shot, I wanted to see how people felt about receiving it. And this was kind of cool to see that there's a higher number of individuals that are refusing the booster. And 92 that are willing not to, and 82 that are willing to. So to wrap this all up, what I was able to get was that there's successful vaccination rates throughout Cazenovia College and the United States. So majority of everyone is vaccinated.
Questions? Yes.
If you could predict, if you had all of the data from the entire college, what would you predict that the stats would change to? Do you think it would still be a higher vaccination status and then a lower unvaccination status?
I think it would be a higher vaccination status due to like us having to, they were required to get vaccinated or to come back. Yes.
Do you have a specific position on which side you are?
I don't. No. Yes.
Yesterday, Syracuse University required all of their employees and students to receive the booster before they come back next semester. Based on your research, you would say that Cazenovia would not necessarily welcome that. How would you go about overcoming that?
I'm not sure. It's a
I
lot.
got a related question that might lead to, we're just asking you to hypothesize. Why do you think, and I'm just asking you, Isla, you're a student, I'm not a student, I'm a faculty member, I got an elderly mother-in-law at home, so I'm gonna get my booster next week. So, any ideas? Why do you think that there's, to me, that looks like a high level of hesitancy among folks who already got, probably either the two-shot regimen for Moderna, right?
Yeah.
Or the one-shot
J&J.
Right? Any ideas? What would you think might be the case?
I think, the media portrays like vaccines usually as not being good, especially the COVID-19 vaccines. There's a lot of conversation everywhere. If you open your phone, you can see I feel like there's a lot of opinion based, and a lot of people see something and they believe it. So.
I don't want to take anybody, if anybody else raise their hand, I'll stop talking. I'm going to throw something. I wonder if, and you can feel free to disagree or totally agree or just look at me like I'm nuts. I wonder if, because we had I would say this college did really well in terms of, just say, managing COVID overall. I wonder if some of that is coming from that. Like, sometimes we take our foot off the gas a little bit if we're successful at something. Do you think that has anything to do with it?
I think the college handled it really well. Whether they compared it or, are you saying like the way that they changed the rules, like being able to hang out when we couldn't?
That would be something related to it, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like they're listening to us, listening to how we feel.
Okay.
Looking at looking at the data throughout the U.S., would you say, just because I'm from the South, it seemed like the South didn't take it as serious as the north. Did you look at different areas like east and west and north and south and see how the different areas of the country reacted?
I did come across that, but I didn't look deeply into it.
Okay.
But I did see more hesitancy in some areas of the world than in others.
That's a really good question. I think one of the problems we would have probably had relatively few data, because so many of our students are permanently live within about a 100-mile radius, so we would have very few data from outside the central New York region.
Yeah, I was able to ask like a question, do you live in New York or do you reside elsewhere? And everybody like put New York State. So that's why I didn't have any data to compare that to.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you think you could do like a similar study just around the booster shot?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just seeing like how much people are like hesitant to get it, I feel like it's interesting just to see why. Yes.
Was there a way to find out how many of those vaccinated students actually wanted to be vaccinated versus ones who were, as in like, certain people had to do it for
Yeah.
job reasons or, you know?
I did ask a question like, did you do this because you were required for work? Were you required for school? And majority of everyone was required for school to come back or work. Rainey, did you have a question?
Yeah, I don't really know how to word it, but I'm just gonna try. Was it like super like difficult and controversial to ask for political parties affiliations?
Yes, especially like trying not to come off a certain side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Was it surprising the results? It was.
Isla, you, to kind of help Isla and the rest of the class put a bit of time in the wording to try and get answers to the question as straightforward as possible so that Isla could be able to compare these data to this national database. So a lot of work goes into developing seemingly simple questions.
Yeah. It was hard to word it, to not try to come off a certain way, or it took a lot of time.
Like John asked a good question. Isla's got a lot more data than she's able to summarize.
Yeah.
So,
If you're interested, I can share the results. It is actually interesting to see.
anybody needs a Qualtrics expert, Isla's up for hire right now, right?
Yes.
All right. Very good.